So I've got a confession to make. It's not something that I am proud of. In fact, quite embarrassed now here in 2022. In 2015, I voted pretty much, as far as I remember, for the first time in a federal election. And I voted for Justin Trudeau. I can only remember actually voting twice in a federal election in my life. It's not because I don't love this country. I'm an immigrant to Canada. We immigrated when I was 4 years old from Poland, communist Poland. And so we moved here to a free country, beautiful Canada. And I am so grateful for this country and for having an opportunity to live here and grow up here. I absolutely love this country. I simply had never had an interest in Canadian politics, like I'm sure many Canadians as well. In 2015, I voted pretty much, as far as I remember, for the first time in a federal election, and I voted for Justin Trudeau. Now, understand that at that time, I had no interest in Canadian politics whatsoever. Politically speaking, I'm pretty much a libertarian. I just don't like government, and I think it should be as small as possible. So, never been a conservative, never voted conservative in my life. My fundamental values are rooted in freedom, equality, and justice for people. I just don't think government in any way should ever be involved in people's lives, in managing people's lives. So, that means as much human rights and as much freedom for people to do what they want. That means believe what they want, freedom of religion, freedom of belief, freedom of opinion, freedom of speech, freedom to love who you want, marry who you want, do whatever you want. I really don't care. I encourage people to do what makes them happy. I believe in freedom. That's my value. It's very simple. And so I voted for Trudeau because of freedom, funnily enough. Stephen Harper had been in power, I think, for 3 terms. All I knew about Stephen Harper was, of course, his globalist connections to, billion-dollar global corporations, which I stand against. I always stand with the people, against the corporations, against the governments, against the elites. I stand for freedom, justice, equality, pretty basic values. And so I just figured we needed a change. And Trudeau was talking about legalizing marijuana. And I've been a recreational marijuana smoker since my early 20s. I really quite enjoy it. I've just always been shocked at the fact that it was illegal. Because if you actually learn about it and study it, and then, the whole history of hemp and all the stuff to do with it, I couldn't believe that it was illegal. And so when Trudeau was finally getting onto the bandwagon of legalizing it, I, like many other young people, voted for him to have a change from a conservative government. And that was in ties with globalist corporations and serving the 1% elite. And Trudeau promised legalizing weed. I love freedom. So that made a lot of sense to me. And see, what's interesting is I haven't changed in the last 7 years. I still believe in the same values, the same beliefs, the same principles. Nothing has changed for me. What's changed is I've spent more time educating myself about Canadian politics and about the global economy and social trends that are happening right now. And so, in 2021, the second time I voted in a federal election, I voted for the People's Party of Canada. Now that's a big change, and I know that I am not alone. There are many Canadians of all political stripes who in 2021 voted for the PPC. There's only one reason why I voted for the PPC: freedom. Regardless of what you think you know about Maxime Bernier and what opinions you have been given about him from mainstream media and other politicians, I don't even care at this point what you think of him and of the political party, and you shouldn't either. Because what's most important is the values that you stand on. And that's what I think that Canadians and most people in the world, the majority of Canadians, seem to have completely lost track of. We have lost track of our values. Our values are the unchanging things that we hold as dear and important in our life and in society. These are the things that we are supposed to stand for and fight for. I am absolutely certain that the answer to eliminating all of the division that has been created in our society is to simply come back to our values. Each of us as individuals, to clarify exactly what it is that we value. Because on those values, you and I most likely agree. The majority of Canadians, except for the radical left, those freaks and extremists in the radical left, and the radical extreme right, those freaks and Looney Tunes on the radical right. The majority of Canadians, I am certain, have similar values. The only problem is that we have been made to forget what we value. And instead of being loyal to our values, we have now become loyal to political parties, and even worse, political agendas and ideologies. And this is the root of the division that we are seeing in our families, in our communities, and in our society as a whole. We have been duped by a money game played by the powerful and the elite, and each of us are just their pawns. And as long as we feed into the narratives that they've created, and as long as we continue to fight and support and defend those narratives and those political parties that create those agendas and push those agendas forward, instead of standing in our values, we will continue to have this conflict and chaos in our country. Somehow, we need to create a force for unity. We need to get past all of the false divisions that have been created, the false arguments that have been created and manifested, perpetrated by the mainstream media and the political class. We need to get back to what we value and what we can all agree on. Simple, basic, fundamental human rights and equality for everyone. Putting people first, not the governments, not the corporations. So we do have to understand that we are in a crisis. We can mitigate that crisis as the citizens, as the people, if we simply do not buy into their divisive agendas that are going to create more conflict. We need to look out for each other. We're on the brink of some life-changing technologies, life-changing surveillance measures, societal changing economic shifts that will change the way that we live and interact with each other. And right now, as people, we need to direct how these technologies are going to be used. We cannot allow the elites, the governments, the wealthy politicians, the billion-dollar corporations. We cannot allow the 1% elite class to dictate what our society will look like in the future. We as the people must come together in unity, regardless of our political viewpoints, left or right. We've got to get rid of those divisions. And we need to come together as people to find solutions from all sides of the political spectrum. Our political class fights over polls and popular opinion. They need votes and power, which gives them money. That money comes from the billion-dollar global corporations, who, of course, own the media, which creates the narrative. If you still think that somehow that is a conspiracy theory, you're simply unwilling to look at the information. And that's okay. We can't help you. But for everybody else that understands that there's a 99% and there's a 1% elite, left or right on the political spectrum. There's a lot of us that understand that. The majority of us understand that. Is there a possibility that we could create conversations and find common values from which we could agree on policy? It's time for the people to shape this government. It's time for the people to shape how we live in this society. And if you resonate with the message in this video, please like, share, and comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Let's engage in conversation. Let's figure out a way to create more unity and less division in our society. What I'd encourage you to do right now is get clear on your values. What is it that you value in life? What is it that you stand for? And are the people that you are supporting and the policies you are supporting and what you are standing and fighting for right now, does that represent your truest values? Don't let yourself be manipulated into being loyal to someone or something or some ideology because they've manipulated you through your values. What I'd love to see you share in the comments also is your values. What do you truly value? What will you stand for and fight for? Now, if you want a little bit of help identifying your values, I'll have a link to a short video exercise. Very, very easy to do, takes you about 5 minutes, and I've got a document there that you can use to very quickly, in just a few minutes, get very clear on what your values are. And then I'd love for you to post those in the comments below. It'd be fun to see those, read those, and have some conversations about those too.